everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shaki and today I'm going to be going through some of the books that you could read in self-isolation. So right now we are in a very uncertain time and space and I wanted to just give you some books to escape into. None of these are about pandemics, none of them I don't think are that, grotesque or about disease in any kind of way. They're just some both contemporary and fantasy, adult, graphic novels, LGBTQ+, straight, everything that you can think of to help you escape in this very uncertain time, which is what I think we all need. This first book, I will be very surprised if everyone and their mother hasn't heard of it yet, and that is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. Now you may know this title as its alternative film title, which is Love, Simon. Now I think that this movie adaptation was quite good. I think it was very reflective of the book. There were some issues, but overall I think it was an okay adaptation and an okay film standing on its own. So Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda follows Simon, who is in the closet for being gay, and he is exchanging back and forth romantic and flirty emails with an anonymous guy called Blue, who he believes to also be gay, and also not only that, goes to his school. When Simon's emails get leaked over blackmail from a certain asshole that we won't name, Simon has to kind of pick up the pieces and deal with him being forced out of the closet. He also has to try and find Blue, and if Blue still wants to date him regardless of them both being outed. The biggest reason why I think I would recommend this to anyone who is currently self-isolating, in fact most people should be self-isolating at this point, is just because it is so cute and fluffy and really easy to read. No matter if you read loads of books or if you only read once every blue moon, Simon Versus is sure to put a smile on anyone's faces. It is so easy to read, as I say. Becky Albertalli has a way with words. Her flow is so good and so easy to get into. She also writes these amazing characters that I just think are so relatable, especially if you are an LGBTQ+ teen that feels a little bit lost. Also watch the movie as well. I will be posting a whole video about separate movies that you should watch during self-isolation, which are again purely escapism based and are not based on pandemics, etc. But yeah, this one is my first one and I am looking forward to rereading this and rewatching the movie as well. Now this is one of my favourite books of all time and I don't speak about this enough on my channel. I recently reread it for the Simsathon round 3 and I need to talk about it some more because I just don't talk about this on my channel enough. I don't think enough people know that I love this book as well. So yeah, this book is quite hyped here on BookTube, on the book internet and the book community. It is very loved and very hyped. There's just so many things that you need to be careful of if you're a younger reader. Don't be put off by that. If you want to read it, then you read whatever you want, but just be careful, my little children. But yeah, so Daisy Jones and the Six follows just that, Daisy and then the Six. Daisy Jones is basically a wannabe star who is making music but not really getting anywhere because she wants to have all the control and all the rights when it comes to her albums, but certain record labels and managers won't let her do so. On the flip side, we have the Six, who are doing so well for themselves. They are a band and they all join together and are trying to be the greatest band on the planet. Their mutual manager decides there's something missing from the Six that Daisy Jones could fill, and so he pairs Daisy Jones and the Six together and they become the best band in the entire world. This is the story of Daisy Jones and the Six, both their rise and their fall as one of the biggest bands of the 60s and 70s. Obviously we've got loads of drugs, rock and roll in here, so if you like any of the above, I would highly recommend Daisy Jones. The way that Taylor Jenkins Reid talks about music and, from certain critics and things, it really just feels like the Six and Daisy Jones and both of them together are real, and I found myself like going on to listen to certain songs and I'm like, oh wait, that doesn't exist. This book isn't like any other normal book that I've got on this list. This book is told in interview format, so there are no beautiful prose. It's just new speaker, new line every single time. I really imagine this as written like a film documentary, so if you go into it with that knowledge then you might enjoy it a lot more, but some readers have struggled to get past this structure and haven't liked it so much. But if you think that Daisy Jones and the Six is for you, you like music, you like drugs, you like rock and roll, you like really morally grey characters and a fucking bomb ass writer who knows how to write in your fucking gut, like she knows how to grab your heart and throw it across the room, you'll love Daisy Jones and the Six, and I really could not recommend it enough. Next, we have some more LGBTQ+ fiction, and that is for people who enjoy graphic novels. And that is the graphic novel series of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I was lucky enough to meet Alice Oseman at her Heartstopper Volume 3 tour here in Nottingham before the coronavirus got too bad. So I will leave that vlog up above if you want to go and see me venturing into the wilderness in case you missed it. This is an ever-growing graphic novel series that was originally released online, and then it got so much traffic that Alice Oseman decided to publish them. They are graphic novels, so if you're into graphic novels and you haven't picked these up yet, I would highly recommend it. So Heartstopper, again, is filled with LGBTQ+ representation. We have a gay main character, a bisexual, bi-curious main character. We've got lesbians, we've got trans people. We have a very diverse cast of characters. So if you're into that and you want to see more of that in your fiction, then go ahead and give this a try. But most of the story revolves around Nick and Charlie. At the beginning of Heartstopper, Charlie finds himself in a really toxic relationship, which Nick helps him to kind of get out of. Through spending loads of time together playing rugby and a lot of experimenting and decision making and thinking and overthinking and, you know, questioning sexuality, the two of them eventually pair up, and all of these volumes are basically about different stages in Charlie and Nick's relationship. One thing I like about these is that it is just pure escapism. They are so easy to read, so short, and you just forget about the outside world for as long as it takes you to read them. Like, they are so fluffy and warm, and there's never really much drama. I think the third volume is touching upon, you know, Charlie's mental health and how it may deteriorate and his eating and stuff, and I really would like to see that progress, but it's never in a way that you are like triggered by it or anything. So if you really would like something to distract you from the outside world right now, Heartstopper is your series right now, because it is so fluffy and you will not be disappointed, I promise you. There are also straight characters represented in here as well, because nothing is diverse without straight people. I'm sorry, but that is the tea. So if you are straight and you still want to read this, don't be deterred by the fact that it's LGBT+. It is really cute still, and I guarantee you'll be rooting for Nick and Charlie afterwards, even if you don't identify with their sexuality. My next self-isolation recommendation is also a graphic novel series, although I won't hold the whole series up like I did for Heartstopper, because there are currently, I think, 11 volumes. I'm on number 9, so I'm catching up slowly. And that is the Saga series by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This is the ultimate fiction battle of space and time. It's about two planets who are currently at war, and Marco and Elena basically have this love affair across planets because Marco is shipped off to be a servant. He is kidnapped and now on her planet, and they have this love affair, and what comes from this love affair is their child Hazel. And all of the Saga volumes really centre around Elena and Marco's relationship, how that blossoms and how, you know, they meet the parents and all of these things you expect to do in a normal relationship, but in the middle of a war in space. It is so fucking good. It also features Hazel, their child, growing up and experiencing life in war basically, and her being frightened of losing her parents. Unlike Heartstopper, this does deal with some quite heavy subject matters like miscarriage and, you know, death because there's a war going on, so I would kind of be careful in that area if those things upset you. And also, this is definitely, again, more on the adult side. Like Daisy Jones, it has a lot of sex in it, and it's quite graphic because it is a graphic novel comic series. So you do see a lot of stuff that, you know, maybe children would not like to see. But don't let that deter you from this amazing, fantastical, escapist, wet dream of a series that is Saga. The art is amazing, the story is amazing, it's so relatable as well. You don't think it will be because they're aliens in space fighting and at war with each other, but it really is amazing, relatable and funny, and I would really recommend if you're looking for some, you know, distractions from the outside world, or rather distraction from the inside world, because we're not actually going outside. But yeah, Saga is one of my favourite graphic novel series, and it could be yours too if you give it a chance. And last but not least on my self-isolation recommendation list is George by Alex Gino. So George by Alex Gino is another LGBTQ+ fiction novel which surrounds transgender child George, who really would like to play Charlotte in Charlotte's Web. However, obviously the role of Charlotte is normally reserved for biologically female children and George is biologically male, but she doesn't think that this should stop her in playing Charlotte, and she'll do anything that she can to try and play her on stage. The reason why I've included this on my list, and there are so many LGBTQ+ books on this list, is because they are all really sweet and escapist heavy, but also I think that this book is more important. I could recommend you millions and millions upon millions of fantasy books about straight, white, cis people, but there are some important books out there that I think that people should be reading, and now that we've got the time in self-isolation, I'm going to bring them to your attention. And George is one of those books. If you're a mature reader, sophisticated reader, don't be put off the fact that this is middle grade and it is written for children. It is written from the perspective of a transgender child. It's about self-discovery and trans rights and how we can be more accepting of trans people, and more specifically trans children. George isn't taken seriously throughout her journey in this by teachers, by parents, parental figures, by friends, and I think you can really learn your own mistakes from watching how George is treated throughout her transitioning. It is really heartwarming, but at times it is quite sad, and obviously it being a book about trans issues, there is a lot of transphobia in here and also homophobia, so be aware of that when going in. But I would really recommend, if you've got a spare hour or so, it does not take very long to read at all, that I would go ahead and try George, because it is a really good book and it taught me so much. Even someone like me who has a lot of experience in the field and with LGBT+ issues, it really taught me a lot about trans rights. And I think it's so poignant and so timely in our atmosphere right now, in our climate, that we need to have more trans voices in fiction. That's why I'm recommending it to you. There you go, there are all of my self-isolation recommendations. I hope that you take a leaf out of my book and read any of these. If you do read them for the first time, let me know either in the comment section or any of my social medias, which are all linked down below. Really hope that you're enjoying your self-isolation time as much as you can, and I hope that you get well and stay safe. And also make sure that if you are purchasing any of these books, that you do it online so that we can continue practicing social distancing, or you rent them on Kindle online or listen to them via audiobook, just so that we're not contacting anyone else and getting them in danger potentially. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed.